Hello and welcome to another edition of the Eternal Journey. I'm That Resolves, and this is JPS Unseen. So the new Dead Reckoning campaign has just been released, and it gave us a couple of extra toys for this archetype. So we've not included two of them, but perhaps that is just incorrect with the Ward Wielder and the Cutthroat Assassin. And though they are good, it's really difficult when you are able to play the Darkveil Agent, Kothon and Miris Nightshade to be able to try and find room for something new, but the Hooru Pacifier was really easy to slot in, as this is a free cost 3/4 with flying and overwhelm, and it's got the kicker text of weapons can't be played. And I thought naturally the first place for this to go would be in a Hooru Flyers deck, but when you're not able to play Hammer of Might, that deck gets a little more tricky to build, so I'll wait till the ETS and see if someone else is able to crack it. The next place to try it was a Hooru mid-range deck, which revolved around trying to put an Inquisitor's Blade on a Feast Caller, but obviously you're not able to do that if the Hooru Pacifier is in play. And I'll probably be revisiting that deck and just trying to change what it's really about. But for now, this is an Unseen Bird, which turns on our common causes, as well as just getting a huge buff from the Unseen Commandos in the deck, as this just adds a lot of evasive damage to the deck, and in a racing situation when you've got multiple Unseen Commandos as well, it's very difficult to lose any of those races against the current fire-based decks. So in the 2-drop slots we've got the Kothon. This really helps us in the late game, as we're still able to do, we've got a power sink on this, we've got to pay 6 and just put a 4/4 out of play, and just being able to pay to give this an additional ability, which really helps you have like out of nowhere bursts of damage with the Unseen Commando. The Miris Nightshade, of course, is a favourite unit of mine, especially as we do have some Vara's interventions to be able to replay them and reuse the ability. And then final, the Darkveil Agent. And what this does is, when you start your turn at night, you're unseen, get Aegis, and for some, like Kothon, this isn't an additional ability, but for the most part, this is just going to make our Rindras really difficult to deal with, and it will reapply the Aegis on our Shelterwing riders. So our main beef is starting at 4 with the Rindra the Duskblade, and this is an all-star and another really great tool in winning any sort of racing situation. And the Shelterwing rider, which is also actually pretty good against beatdown decks, because even if they are able to pop the Aegis and revert her to a 0/5, that's still an excellent wall and does a great job at blocking Vadius. Next up we've got Zelia, and this is pretty much for the same reasons, and these can really lead to some off-the-chain turns where you're just able to play Rindra and Zelia in the same turn. Or you could have a Zelia in play the Affliction, and then exhaust this Zelia to play another copy from your hand. So it's got some utility, as if you are playing against any opposing Shelterwing riders, you can just pay the 4 just to pop the Aegis and just give you an easier way of getting in. We've got a good amount of interaction really early on with the Permafrost and the Sabotage. We've even got Seek Power, which is a pretty necessary evil in this deck, just to, as it does help us fix our power, but it also turns on the seats, which we are playing more seats than we are Crest or anything else. But the Seek Power, I feel like that's just going to add to the basic Sigil count, and it's just going to really help us to be able to play on curve. The other spicy inclusion is the Vara's intervention, and though we have killed a fair share of Initiate the Sands and Dawnwalkers with this, for the most part this is just going to be drawing you an Unseen from your Void, or just giving one of your units unblockable, and this is especially excellent if you are able to power up a huge Zelia. Whether or not this tribe is here yet, we do get to play the common cause, and any deck that gets to play this, it makes being a triple faction deck just so much easier. Okay, so on to the games. Okay, so this sounds reasonable. We have a little bit extra power here, but we are able to make double of everything, and that's got us covered for influence. We do get to go 2/3 into a removal spell and just hopefully draw something from there. I think straight up I was going to play the Sea of Vengeance, and next time we'll be making a Shadow Source with the common cause. Did pick up the new avatar here because I'm really a big fan of Icaria's story here.
Move over, I'll handle this.
Okay, so we'll just grab our Shadow. And there is an argument here for perhaps using the Sabotage, but I think I'm pretty happy just to get this Miris Nightshade out there. I don't think we'll be doing any trades or blocks though.
Die with honor.
And there's nothing to worry about here. Okay, so maybe I've also got a Warhammer on this, so this will become a 3-3 at some point, but that's too much of an issue really, as our 3-4 will still be able to blanket. I think next turn we're just going to attempt to crack in with Miris Nightshade. And if we do get a trade here, that's more than fine really. Now next turn we'll probably just go discard spell plus a slay. But for now we get to dodge a lot of the removal in our opponent's deck, as they will have to use some sort of combat trick. I think for the first time, I won't be blocking here, I just want to get a Sabotage in and just see what's going on. I don't want to just lose to a Finest Hour here. And it's even better we get to make a play too. My opponent could just have 2 torches here. But it's Hammer of Might plus double Finest Hour. Okay, well it's a good job that we didn't block, because our opponent will be able to go ham with these Hammer of Mights, but I'm just going to take these Finest Hours out. And start getting in there. I think there is actually an argument just for slaying this, just because our opponent will, well, actually don't care, do we? We'll just play the Darkveil Agent, get Aegis on both our units. It's just a minor concern was if our opponent was able to silence a Hooru Pacifier and then put the weapons on the Steady Marshal, but that doesn't matter, we're just able to remove it this turn, or if our opponent plays a better threat like the Whirling Duo. So now they've got a 3-2 and a 5-5. Now this is a Gunslinger, right? This doesn't seem right. I'm supposed to have a 2-3 here. Well, I'm going to block, but I'll be reporting that as a bug. So we'll just slay this and get him for free. And then next turn we'll just lay down the Unseen Commando. And just keep chunking in for damage.
Trust in your skills.
So do give our opponent a torch target here, but our opponent still gets to make some use of the torch if we just played out the Shelterwing Rider. And I'd rather just start getting in there for a huge chunk of damage across 2 bodies. Now let's give our opponent a real sort of decision here with this. And they're going to choose the Hooru Pacifier, which actually works out slightly better for us, because we're just going to slay this, and then they should have no targets. And this is good because we get to make 2 plays next turn, so I'll keep the Kothon. I think this pause here is just the Finest Hour that we knew about. And I'll get to get him for 6. And our opponent's got 2 Hammer of Mights and a Finest Hour, and it's unlikely we're able to make a play plus do something here. Okay, so now we're in a little bit of trouble because our opponent gets to go ham with these hammers. Our opponent's going to use the Finest Hour here, so perhaps should have just attacked with both.
Let your spirit rise.
Tell me, what do you see?
But if our opponent does make a Hammer of Might and attack, we do get to be really aggressive. Permafrost is good. Good to get in here for a bunch, and then next turn we should be winning just with this Permafrost. And if anything too exciting happens here, then we have 2 blockers at least.
I stand ready.
Okay, so I'm just going to Permafrost here. No, our opponent's just got a hammer in hand, and then we're just able to get in with the team. Okay, so we do have actually a reasonable amount of power here set up. So I think we'll actually keep this. Got quite a lot of interaction as well, so if it's a definite keep here. Get to scout, and I think the scout might just be finding us an additional power, and then we'll be set up for the game, but I don't think we want this Darkveil agent, even in the dark. As we do have better 2-drops, and we already Skycrag. So Kothon's likely to be good, but I'm going to lead off with the... Okay, so we'll get a Primal. We're going to lead with the Darkveil agent. And then next turn, we can seek power if we don't draw a power, or we can sabotage. Well, that's pretty much what I didn't want our Kothon to be, because if this is like a Skycrag beatdown deck, then the Kothon's actually quite good.
Draw, mister.
Now, looks like we want the additional justice here. We'll just chuck out Sabotage. So Torch and Rock Slide. And then I suppose we'll just Permafrost this. Just to keep the war cries from coming. Then next turn we'll play out the Hooru Pacifier.
Draw, mister.
And we know we're not going to be blocking because our opponent does have the Rock Slide here. And letting them use our Rock Slide to kill our 3-4 is pretty bad for us. So perhaps we want to get the Sabotage in there first off. Well, our opponent could have Mortar now. And that's something I should perhaps be considering. Oh, no blocks here. So check out Sabotage. And then after we do this, we shouldn't need to worry about the Permafrost because we will be able to block with the 2-3 here. Our opponent's got a pause here, so perhaps they've only got the Rock Slide in hand and just want to use all the power, or they've drawn a Mortar. That might have been a mistake, the 1-on-1 there.
Tell me, what do you see?
I think our opponent's intention was to deal 2 damage to us there. Because they didn't have a Torch in hand because we would have had the option to take it. And then just taking my beats off the 5-3. Our opponent's drawn another quick spell here then. That's fine, but we'll be Permafrosting this. And then we get to follow up on the next turn with a nice Shelterwing Rider. I sort of like this deck that even though we might not necessarily be the beatdown in this matchup, we do get to put an actual clock in our opponent here. I've got an endurance unit as well.
Let your spirit rise.
So we even get to sort of play double duty here, bit of aggression and defense. So probably a good polymorph there. Okay, I was giving up. I was going to hold the common cards in hand until we get to play the Zelia later on. Okay, so this sounds pretty good actually. Assuming we draw a third influence or just some sort of dual faction influence, then we do have a quite a nice 2-3-4. But otherwise, we get to go 2-3, which is still just as good. So I think we'll keep this. Although we're on the draw, so I can see us getting overrun a little bit. We're against the Stone Sky deck, but this was a Crest, so this could be like a removal pile or some sort of control deck here. It's pretty excellent because we do get to run the Darkveil agent out into the Seek Power. Hopefully they turn after. So let's have a look here what we've got. And additional Seek Power, don't really want that. We'd rather just have a real power. This looks like it's actually just a removal pile, so maybe the Zelia's not excellent here. So I need to think about what influence I want here. I do want to go double justice into the Rindra. Got single justice, and then 2 of the others. grab Shadow here, because my next turn is going to be Nightshade. Well, Darkveil Agent plus...
Just a touch of poison.
Yeah, this works out. I'd rather play the free to out first as...
Make each bullet count.
Okay, well I feel silly now because I can't attack him. But we do get to Darkveil Agent here. And if we're able to go to our turn without our Darkveil Agent being dealt with, then we do have 2 Aegis threats. And Hammer's going to be pretty rough for us to deal with unless we try exactly Primal Source here. And the Hooru Pacifier is not quite just on time. Well, I suppose I'll play the Kothon.
Tell me, what do you see?
Probably being on the draw here, Hammer's just probably a little bit too slow. And now we're just going to have both our threats dealt with by this Rune Hammer. But after this one's spent up, I think I'm probably just going to slam the Hooru Pacifier. And hope that this is a weapon our opponent's getting here rather than a actual Macto or something along those lines. As sadly this are curses rather than actual debuffs with the -2, -1, so we aren't able to deal with Mactos like that. I think we'll just play out the Rindra and a Zelia.
Beauty truly is a curse.
Our opponent could be playing Harsh Rule here. Okay, so it was a non-Risen 4 Icaria.
Or be cut down.
Well, we do have a couple of options. We can blow through a Pacifier and then we get to double block, but I'm pretty certain our opponent's got a torch here. We can kill this, attacking with the Rindra to gain 5, and I don't think our opponent's going to be blocking here. We can play the Unseen Commando, but the Unseen Commando is not going to do very much apart from turn our Rindra into a 6/6, which if our opponent wouldn't get to just trade 1 for 1 here. I think what I want to do is kill this off. Attacking for 5, gain 5, and then we're going to exhaust this Zelia to play a second copy. And I was surprised that our opponent just blocks there. I think I'm under the assumption that our opponent's not playing a Harsh Rule here. But if they get a weapon, they do get to kill one of our Zelias, which is pretty rough for us. But I'm uncertain what they rose for here. So I don't have any double skills here, so I'm just going to attack him for the 6. And just play out double threat. Just keep our opponent from playing any further weapons, especially if that's what they rose for. So it was in Icaria, but we've got 5 here, so we can trade with it, but then our opponent's got 10 war cries and we've not got many ways of actually dealing with them. But we also don't get to race back, so I think we'll just attack here. We'll get to deal both our threats. And then hopefully we'll just get to load up with this Rindra, which sadly draws our opponent a second card per turn and bringing them a little bit closer to whatever they've got those war cries on. This could just be a... Okay, so nothing too exciting. Let's just slam this Sabotage. Just torching us and get to take out the Annihilator. And using our Crest just to bomb anything non-useful. And Zelia's probably actually fine because we've got just a bunch of power. So I'll just play it out and just use it to perhaps bring down any sort of nonsense units our opponent's got. So they snapped off the Justice Source into their bin. Now they're going to rise to the challenge and probably get whatever they've got those war cries on.
Another late night.
The 9/6 Destiny is going to be pretty gross for us to deal with. But we do get quite the discount here. And we're able to put double enchantment on it. Now we get to block pretty easily. That's probably one of the better things for us. Our opponent could put the war cries on. If it was an Akari, we're pretty much just dead. Uh-oh. They've got a huge Akari as well. This is pretty gross for us. We do get to size it down a little bit, but our opponent's just gained 1 billion life. Just fire for Sabotage. Here's a harsh rule, so our opponent did have a harsh rule. And our opponent's got us for Xaxes here. So we'll give them the old GG's. And move on to the next game. Okay, so this hand is looking more like a control hand here, just with a bunch of power and some removal spells, but I think I'll just redraw this. We just need to be actually some amount of aggressive here. So I think the way we want to order this is, so we can actually play out pretty nicely, play the Seat Cunning first, although I always think of just playing the Sabotage on the first turn, and no matter what the matchup is, double Unseen Commando is often just busted, so we'll be keeping that. But for the most part, we're playing the Crest there just to get the depleted power out of the way. I think I'm just going to play out the Miris Nightshade. Just sort of bait out the torches from our opponents, because they are playing Skycrack, and hopefully our Unseen Commandos can survive and they'll be able to really take over the game. So we are against Hulkbuster colours here. So let's just chunk it for the free first. At this point, we don't want to play the Sabotage first, because then they know what's going on and they just chuck it away straight away. So what do we have here? It's actually just a control deck. So Vanquish, Rise to the Challenge, Runehammer, and Eye of Winter. So Eye of Winter is quite a power investment, and it doesn't do very much against our Unseen Commandos here. We do have answers to the Runehammer in terms of just having Darkveil Agent just to make Nightfall. Rise to the Challenge is fine because it's going to be them playing their entire turn to deal with it. And the Vanquish isn't doing much because we've just got a bunch of 2 power units. So I think actually we're just going to take the Runehammer here. And then we play the Darkveil Agent. And then our opponent's Eye of Winter was a lot less enticing when it takes 2 activations to actually stun one of our ground units here. And I think this is probably a matchup where the Nyctophobia is going to do a bunch of work. So you see right here, our opponent, that turn was basically not do anything, and then next time if I want to use this, it's still not going to do very much of anything here. And now I've got a consideration to make, and I can play the Hooru Pacifier, which can't be vanquished, but I might also just sort of prompt them into using the Rise to the Challenge to hit a weapon, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the Unseen Commando out here, and then now if they Rise to the Challenge to go and hit another Runehammer, or something just to stabilise before they're able to Harsh Rule, then we are able to sort of blow that plan out with the Hooru Pacifier. And if they do Harsh Rule, we'll still have 2 threats, and if we're able to find a power, we'll be able to activate the Miris Nightshade here. So this is our opponent's turn. I think right here we'll just chunk in for the bunch of damage. I am a little bit concerned about Harsh Wheel here, so I don't want to just commit both our Unseen Commandos. We don't have any undepleted units for our Zelia, so I'm just going to play up the Hooru Pacifier. Yep, this is a Harsh Wheel, which is not excellent, but I would actually really like to find an undepleted power. We didn't find one. But we get to get in here for the free. And even if our opponent stuns us, then they're still in not excellent shape. But I think we'll just play the Unseen Commando first, because I don't want our opponent drawing a bunch more cards here. And I'd rather save the Rindra here for when it's worth 2 damage just off the Nightfall trigger itself. Because now we've got 2 juicy. If our opponent's just got like 1 removal spell here, we've got 2 juicy targets. So let's see what our opponent is deciding here. The other one, of course, is good, but we did manage to sort of nullify its effectiveness quite a lot just by having the Aegis. And opponent might just be digging for something here. If they don't find it, then the game could be just very well be ours. Okay, well, we've got Leaf on play now, so we managed to get away with it. So, activate the Miris, we deal 3 damage here, and then we've got 2 damage from the Nightfall. So give me the old Face Your Judgment. Okay, so let's take a look at this hand for the last game. And sadly the power doesn't quite match up. If we had another duel here, or if this is one of the Hooru dual influence lands, then we'd be really happy because we get to play the Miris Nightshade into double Pacifier, and that's probably enough to get the job done. We're on the draw as well, so we can't really afford to just mess around forever. This is not much better. This is sort of suffering from some of the problems that the Hulkbuster deck gets a little bit. Let's play out the seat first. Just give us as much time as possible for us to make a decision on this common cause. And opponent's playing common cause too, so I guess they're playing an Explorer Sentinel deck. This is pretty good here. We get to play out the Seat of Vengeance, and then we'll get to curve out quite nicely here with the Hooru Pacifier and Unseen Commandos.
You'll be good as new.
And opponent's going deep here with the Sentinel Tribal. So let's grab a Primal, and then we're able to play the Pacifier. And next time we do get to play the Seat of Order, so we either play the Unseen Commando and just bash for 1,000,000, or if our opponent's found a Sentinel, then we are able to slay it.
Good as new.
And our opponent's got a double Game Master draw, which is potent, and I'm pretty sad that we're unable to play and activate this Zelia, although I think we are just in a pure racing situation here. So play down the seat, get the Unseen Commando down, and we'll just have to save our removal spells for these Sentinels and just try and kill our opponent as quickly as possible. So opponent is drawing just like 1,000,000 cards. Now the Sentinels have got insurance, which is sort of making a mockery of our Permafrost here. But we do get to chunk in for a bunch, and I think I might just ignore this 7 damage. Because we're also sort of like -4 in it because of this. And right now maybe we do actually just want to play the Pacifier, just to have more stuff in the air. Because the Rindra isn't going to do too much here. Well, she's a 6/6 on the attacks. Because the opponent's Sentinels are all just going to have Overwhelm and Endurance, which does turn off the Permafrost completely. I feel like if we draw another power here, maybe we'll just be using the Permafrost just to shut these down. Well, the torch there is a devastating blow. And another Permafrost here just taunting us. So kill the 9/7 just because that's one of the most problematic cards our opponent's got here. And just take him down to Beatdown Town. Show him the shiny one just to show him who's boss. And hopefully we're able to kill our opponent over the next 2 turns before they are able to kill us. But really we do need an actual hard removal spell just for this overwhelming endurance. Okay, so this is pretty nice for them because they get to combine the cards together to kill one of our flyers. And I think this game's actually just far too gone now. As our opponent's units do have overwhelm as well, then it's going to be pretty difficult for us to actually make any meaningful blocks there. And the old Permafrost is not getting it done. So we'll give him the old GGs and move. Okay, so that was the JPS Unseen deck. And Hooru Pacifier really pulled its weight, as this is able to shut down a lot of beatdown strategies, just being a 3/4 fly in the air. And it's not even terrible if it gets silenced, as the main offender for silencing is the Valkyrie Enforcer, and he's still able to just try and attack past it. The Darkveil Agent was actually really good in one of the games, though I was considering that perhaps they should just be the new Shadow Unseen that we've got, which is a 2/2 with Deadly and Warcry. And perhaps if we are going to play against a more really go big decks like Praxis, then we do want the Deadly unit, as it is able to attack pretty reasonably well, especially when you pair it with an Unseen Commando, as it does have the double battle skill to be able to get the bonuses from the Unseen Commando's passive Anthem effect. I don't think we'll be able to play the Ward Wielder just because it's going to be a little bit too difficult for us to be able to try and make a Aegis, well, face Aegis on us in this deck. We would have to play something like a Duelist Blade, which is a little bit spicy for this kind of brew. Mainly, I think the game's pretty much showed off what this deck can do. I think it's really powerful, and it's very much like the Hulkbuster archetype, where you're just playing a free faction beatdown deck that's just playing some of the most powerful things at its drops, because we've got Kothon here, the Hooru Pacifier, the Unseen Commando, and then the Rindra and the Shelterwing Rider. Zelia is quite good as well. I was pretty impressed with what she can do. Well, we did make a couple of misplays with where we were targeting, although for the most part that just didn't matter. I think the power base is perhaps the thing that needs to be worked on next, but I'm sure someone who's better at this game than me will be able to figure that out, and they'll be able to pick up their version for a spin and see what it can do on the ladder. Okay, so thanks for watching. I've been That Resolves, and this has been JPS Unseen.